welcome to my kitchen. I'm Christina. Thank you for joining me today. Today I'm making rustic oven-baked dinner rolls. I call them rustic because they're not fancy. They bake up in a single rise, which I love, and you literally throw them into the oven and bake them really quick on a pizza stone. So I'll get all my ingredients ready to go and I'll get started and show you how to make it next. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do here is get our water at about 110 degrees, so I'm right there. You want your water, when you're activating your yeast to be between 105 and 110. No more than that, because if it's too hot, it'll kill the yeast, and you don't want that. Okay, the other thing we want to add is the sugar. And then I'm just going to stir it, blend it all really well together, put this aside, and I want it to get nice and frothy on top, so it kind of just looks like this right now. After about 10-15 minutes, it'll develop a little froth on top of it, and then you're ready to add it to your dry ingredients. So while I'm waiting for that, I am going to add the salt to my flour, and then just with my whisk, I'm going to blend it all in. Okay, so my yeast is activated, and I am going to move on to the next steps here. And I have my flour and my salt, and I'm adding baking powder. And now I'm going to whisk them all together and then move on to my wet ingredients, which is my olive oil and my Greek yogurt. It's just plain Greek yogurt. And I like to work dough with my hands, so I'm just going to go in here and stir this all and then get in there with my hands and mix it. This part of it needs to be crumbly. And next I will add my yeast. So next, I'm going to mix this all together and form it into a dough, and then I'm going to knead it for about 10 minutes. Okay, so I like to knead it in my bowl until it forms a nice ball like this. I'm going to remove my bowl, and I'm going to add flour to my work surface and continue to knead it by hand. And I'm going to do this for about 10 minutes. As you're kneading it, it's okay to add a little bit of flour just to keep it from sticking to the surface. But the technique I use is I just keep rolling the dough, and with the palm of my hand I just push down. With my other hand I roll it in and just keep going with that. So as you're working your dough, as I mentioned, it's okay to flour your surface, but you want to lightly flour it. So for example, I have it over here, and then I just kind of bring it over, and there's just a small amount of flour there. Okay, so I'm right about the 10-minute mark. So my dough is looking and feeling great. So next I'm going to put it in a bowl, and I have a new bowl here, and I have about a tablespoon of olive oil. I'm just going to rub the olive oil all over the bowl here, and I'm going to put my dough that I just kneaded in here, Okay, I'm going to cover it with a clean kitchen towel. And then I like to put a plate on top of it. Pull my kitchen towel so that it's taut on top and even, so that as the dough rises, it's not going to touch the towel. So I want my dough to rise for about 3 hours. You always want to place it in a warm part of your kitchen. Okay, so I like to look at my dough just to see where I'm at when it starts. And that way I can check it later and see how much it has risen. Okay, so my dough is all ready to punch down. See how much it's risen since the last time? So my rolls have been rising for about 3 hours, and they've more than doubled. So I love this recipe because it's a single rise, and it goes from a single rise into the oven. So what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to punch it down, get all the air out, and I'm literally going to take little pieces of dough and take them right to the oven. My oven is ready to go at 500. I have my pizza stone that's been preheating in the oven as well, so that's really like screaming hot and it's ready. So I'll get started. All right, so pull out my pizza stone. I punch down my dough, and next I'm going to just take pieces of it and make little balls, dampen them in water, and throw them on the hot stone. This is one of my favorite recipes to make for company because you can make it in advance and bake your rolls right before you're ready to sit down and eat. I pulled the dough apart and just have little pieces of dough. They have to get dunked in with the water. And these will take, depending on your oven, between 6 to 10 minutes to bake up. Close everything up, and I will set a timer for about 6 minutes and see how they look then. And they may take 6 minutes, may take 10, so we'll just kind of keep checking them. Okay, all done here. Let's take a peek. They're not pretty, but they're quick, and that's why I call them rustic. Okay, so the best way to remove it is just with a little spatula. You want to remove them from the pizza stone, otherwise they keep baking. What do you think? What's not to love about that, right? I will cut into one of these guys so you could see the inside. But I am going to use my glove here because it's still pretty hot. If you'd like, you can brush the tops of them with olive oil, give them a little bit of sheen if you want to take them to the table. You could do that, or you could brush a little bit of clarified butter on them as well, or just leave them as is. I think they're great. So I'll do a quick little taste test. These are fantastic. I hope I've inspired you to make this recipe. Thanks for following along. Yum. If you have enjoyed this recipe, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already.
Make sure to click on the bell so you get notifications every time I upload a new video. I thank you for joining me today. See you next time.